Hey guys, it's me again. Just wanted to make an update video on the Tri-Curse Low-Life Occultist. Primarily just answering some questions and also just updating some things that I've done. I'm level 92 now, so I leveled up 4 levels. I'm still alive. I really actually only had one close call, so the build's going quite well thus far. The main question, and I want to kind of say more confusion that a lot of people had is, and even just like 10 minutes ago somebody commented this, is that I am not low life because I'm CI. So I apologize if I didn't really kind of make this more clear. So the belt we're using here is called Coward's Legacy. So as you can see, what this belt does is you count as on low life while you are cursed with vulnerability. And the belt also gives you are cursed with level 20 vulnerability. So even in my hideout, as you can see, I'm cursed with vulnerability. So I do count as on low life. So even though my life is 1 and my life is 100%, I'm still on low life. Really easy way to prove that is if I go, let's say here, let's see on my movement speed, 55%. My sword gives me onslaught while on low life. Onslaught gives 20% movement speed. If I take my sword off, as you can see, my movement speed does go down to 35. So I am on low life, and that's how the build functions. The way I counter being cursed with vulnerability and having 50% increased effective curses on me is I'm using Azir's Reflection. This is a shield that is the upgraded unique version of Aziri's Mirror. Unfortunately, the problem with the shield is it's super rare and it's super hard to get because the prophecy is just really rare. It's pretty hard to come by. I've personally found that if you try to snatch it up early in the league for like 10 to 15 exalts, that usually works pretty well, but later in the league, they get a lot more expensive because people stop playing, and it's just much more harder to find this prophecy on temporary leagues. However, if you still want to do this build with the fake kind of low life version using this belt, there is actually another way you can get around it without having to only use Azir's Reflection. If you actually search on PoE Trade for a Watcher's Eye, and you search for the specific affix unaffected by vulnerability while you have determination. So pretty much it negates the vulnerability that you are constantly inflicted with. So it does allow you to do things like use the Dreadbeak. It does allow you to pick up Pain Attunement. The only kind of problem is though is you're not immune to other curses, and the big issue is you get 50% increased effective curses on you from the belt. So I would say if you're gonna go that route, I'd say just be sure not to roll or try to avoid rolling maps with curses, because you're going to be really, really punished by the other curses. So that's just kind of one thing to keep in mind. But yeah, that was kind of just the main question a lot of people had with the build. So yes, I am low life because of the belt. In terms of updates and or slash upgrades that I've made to the build, I actually started running Lauri's Lantern. I dropped my crazy res ring and I managed to somehow squeeze in some resists. Right now I'm actually running this this magic jewel, but I'm trying to actually corrupt Lauri's Lantern to give me 16 to 20% all elemental resistances in the implicit, because that's a corruption mod that's actually available. So it can give me potentially up to 6% more elemental resistances. But the great thing about this ring is it kind of, if you just kind of look at it for the average build, it kind of looks like a piece of junk. It's just a 3 chaos ring for lore weave, but it actually has, not only does it have 20 all res, it also has 8 movement speed, and it has the really, really big important role. Damage from enemies hitting you is unlucky while you're on low life. For being on hardcore, that's actually really, really big. So what this does is it rolls the damage value that monsters hit me with twice, and it picks the lowest of the rolls. So it doesn't reduce the hit chance, it doesn't reduce the crit chance. However, it does on average reduce the rolls of the hits or the crits and things like that. So this ring is actually really strong. There's actually a good graph on PoE Wiki that kind of shows what the unlucky does, and I'll put it up here. Oh wait, you guys can't see. Let's put it on. Hold on a second. If this will work, and let me pop it up. There we go. Yeah, so this is kind of a good graph that kind of shows what lucky versus unlucky does. So this is kind of like the normal damage values. If the damage values were lucky, so if enemies had a lucky chance to hit me, that would change the curve to more here. However, with the Lauri's Lantern I'm wearing, their average damage values go down to this plot here. So it's actually a pretty big difference with how the damage rolls are calculated. So this ring actually provides a lot of survivability. So it's a really strong ring. Other than that, I started running the Green Dream that gives me frenzy charges. The tree is more or less kind of the same. The upgrades I have now are going to be pretty challenging and difficult for me to obtain. I also got the Elepathy, I guess that's how you say it, with +2 duration, which is really big because that gives me, it's going to give me 22 Affliction, 22 Cast While Channeling, or sorry, 22 Essence Drain, and 22 Efficacy. So I've happened to snipe these gloves for just 20 Chaos, so that was super lucky. I actually crafted these boots myself with a few dense fossils, and then I got this enchant on the first try. Also really lucky, so I have 10% more movement speed now. So these boots are quite nice. Still room for upgrade, but I'm pretty content with these boots. Trying to get the AoE corrupt on my Dreadbeak. Unfortunately, I actually found someone that had a 20% corruption just now, and then he replied with, "Sorry, I'll use this." So unfortunately didn't get it, but still working on that. And still trying to get the enchant on Heretic's Veil. I actually ran one earlier, and I happened to hit Assassin's Mark, which was crazy, but unfortunately it's not what I need. So I'm still working on that. But at this point, the main upgrades I'm going to try to make is I'm going to try to buy a Unnatural Instinct, put it right here. That's going to give me crazy amounts of spell damage, attack speed, movement speed. It's going to give me 9 movement speed. However, that jewel's like 10 exalt, so it's pretty expensive. I still need to get a Watcher's Eye as well. So I do definitely still have some room left for upgrade. I also pathed down here to Voidberry to get 8 all-res, because I found that was probably the best way for me to get more resists. And it also gives me 20% maximum energy shield, and it takes care of some dexterity requirements. So actually that turned out pretty well. I decided to choose that instead of going to Retribution and Amplify, for now at least. So that's kind of my update on the build. Let's see, I'm going to keep pushing, see how far I'll get without dying. And I will make another update video when I get the chance, when there's something to update. And you guys can leave more comments down below if you have questions about the build, or anything other concerns. See you guys.